When selling business to business, what really separates the top 1% of salespeople and leaders from the rest? Is it talent? Is it strategy? Or is there something deeper at play? And in this conversation, we're sitting down with the current CEO of Sales Outcomes, a company that has been transforming how leaders and sellers drive revenue. During the next 10 minutes or so, we will uncover the secrets behind their approach and why traditional sales training might be holding you back from reaching your full potential. Ready to break the mold? All right, let's literally dive into this. So before I get a little bit more into the introduction of Airton, who's our guest, did you know that 60% of salespeople say they do not feel confident in the sales training they've received? Yet studies show that organizations investing in the right training consistently outperform their competitors. What's the missing link then? Well, today we're going to find out why the typical approach for sales training isn't enough anymore and how Sales Outcomes is redefining what it means to train for success in the modern sales world. Welcome back. I'm Maria White, co-founder of GME and CEO of Enablement Dojo, and I'm joined by Airton, CEO of Sales Outcomes, and previously the CRO of companies like HP, Ryder Systems, Seva Logistics, and Pitney Bowes. Welcome, Airton. You have been building, designing, and delivering training for sales and sales leaders for many, many years. I'm very excited to hear your point of view, and I'm sure our viewers are as well, on how you've been adapting and evolving your approach over the years for training.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So I have a few questions, so I hope we can just dive straight into this. So sales training has traditionally focused on product knowledge when you're doing the business-to-business selling and hard sales tactics. So how is Sales Outcomes redefining by addressing the evolving needs of today's sellers and leaders and teams? This previous focus on product training and facts, what are you doing now that's a little bit different?
Very good. Thank you. As you said, traditional training has been pretty much like the boot camps where people get a lot of product information and they are trained about what to tell a client, right? Go and say this, go and compare to this. That's the typical boot camp, which I think is still necessary because that's the way for you to understand what product you are selling. Our approach is not about product selling. It's about developing the skills that is not related to the product. It is the one relating to building trust with your client. Our primary focus is deal closing, deal shaping, as well as pipeline management, because those are the two things salespeople need to know: is how to close a deal and how to build a healthy pipeline. So that's where we focus.
That's excellent. And, there's also, so what I heard you say is that you're focused on the skills that they need to develop the relationships with the customers to help them perform better in the conversations with the customers. And the knowledge is obviously there for the product, but you're focused on that customer-centric selling with the sales reps. That's fantastic. Now, as we all know, the pressure to close deals is constant for a seller. So how do you ensure your training not only equips them with the right skills, but also nurtures their long-term growth and resilience, when they face setbacks in a tough market? Even now, I would say, today we're in May 2025, they're facing a tough economy. So how do you help them with that resilience in the face of setbacks?
Well, like I said, it is very important for them to be very capable of navigating through a deal. So the first part of our training is how they do this. The main difference is that we do not have a off-the-shelf training. It's completely customized. It's your customers, your marketplace, your competition, your sales process. So we do not want to introduce new names. Everything is your environment, your reality. So what we basically do is we accomplish this to simulations. So we have consultants that role play clients, different decision-making or influencer roles. And we have the teams to interact with us, to identify our needs, to develop a solution, to propose, to negotiate. And every one of those sales steps, we have debriefings in terms of what did you do well, what did you miss, what you could have done better. We break the group in small teams that also compete with each other. So they not only learning from trying to simulate a situation, but they learning from watching each other. Because you learn when you see others doing it, and
Yeah.
you can see the first one who does usually does much poorer than the last one who does it, because you leverage from people's mistake early on. So it becomes very engaging, very entertaining, very realistic, and it's not enough the shelf because we use your terminology, your situation, your materials, your proposals. So it's the customization is what makes it quite unique. Second
Right.
part of your question
Yeah.
is, well, this is about a deal. Well, we also look at your pipeline. So whatever CRM we use, we bring that CRM information to the teams and we start analyzing your pipeline. So what is the total size of the pipeline? What is the aging? What is the stage duration? All critical elements that help you to understand what is a healthy pipeline. A good pipeline is not 2x or 3x the size of your goal.
Yeah.
It's much more than this. So we help them analyze their own pipeline. And like we do with the deal shaping, it's about others understanding. Oh, I thought this guy had a great pipeline. Now I realize it's not as good as I thought. Mine is actually better. So they start criticizing each other and understanding what a good pipeline is. Those are the two elements of a successful training program. It's helping with the immediate need to close deals as well as building a health pipeline for the near future.
Thank you, Airton. Yeah, just to kind of tease out what you've said, simply put, is by creating very business specific targeted goals in the training, because you said one size doesn't fit all. That's what I heard you say. You're looking at putting them into smaller groups so they have these little micro coaching circles with each other. They're learning from each other in the peer-to-peer situation environment, but also as well you're encouraging them to work on case studies, simulate, learn from others. So, 4 or 5 sellers could be selling to the same industry with the same solution, but they might be doing it differently and they learn from each other. So that peer-to-peer learning is incredibly important. And you're focusing on helping them understand what it really takes to close what they need in revenue. And, I agree with you. I've seen this over and over again as a sales leader and as a sales enablement leader. Pipeline isn't 3 times pipeline for each individual. It's very unique based on their close rate and how they show up in their workflow as well. Thank you for that. So, many programs, we talked about it, says one size fits all. And what I wanted to just lean into was, I agree with you. You didn't quite say this, but I'll put it out there because I feel like this is where you're coming from. We need to get back to that in-person or virtual in-person training, because on-demand training can take them so far, but that tacit training of having the role plays and the simulations is going to elevate their learning quicker and keep that learning in them by doing and sharing with peers. So thank you. With the rise of technology and the changing buying behaviors, we've got savvy buyers now. How do you ensure that your training programs stay relevant and adapt in such a fast-paced sales landscape that we're experiencing now?
Well, so let me add to this question the fact that we believe not only the salesperson need to be well equipped. Uh, a lot of the B2B selling is a team selling. It involves more people. So in our training, we do suggest get the salesperson, get pre-sales, solution engineer, uh, whoever participates in the selling process, because they all need to do some contribution for the deals to move forward. You have multiple decision makers or influencers. The salesperson cannot deal with all of those stakeholders. The rest of the team needs to help. So We also suggest bring more people because everybody needs to contribute to the selling process. Um, the other thing that we do in regards to your question is after the training is over, we assume it's not over because people may go into a training and then do not use any of the skills or any of the abilities. So one thing that we strongly suggest and most of our clients have accepted is that after the training, we give probably 60 to 90 days of coaching to the individuals who participate. They can call us every week with situations with their pipeline and they ask for our guidance. So we follow 6 to 90 days and then we follow like 6 months after the training. Do we see material changes in your key indicators? Like, is your win rate better? Is your pipeline bigger? Uh, do you have a quality pipeline compared to what you had before? Is the size of your pipeline different? So we start to see, can we see some changes in 6 months? Usually customers get really surprised when they see how much can you change in 6 months when you have not only the training, but the coaching after the training. Those two elements make a significant difference.
Airton, that's fantastic. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That continuous learning or everboarding, as I call it, that's where you do find the behavior change because you're checking in on them, giving them a little bit more guidance and keeping that momentum going of the learning that they had in there to build upon that. And I do like the fact that you said your organization stays close to them for 60 to 90 days and just make sure that you're delivering on your promise to the customer, to your physical customer, the people you're training, which is let's make sure we've had that change. Let's make sure we've had that behavior change. And that's incredibly important. There's too much, in my opinion, where people are like, oh, let's go do a 1-day training, done. Absolutely not. I'm with you in that train of thought. You have to make sure they're ready for the training, give them the training, let them flex that training for a moment, come back, do reinforcement, and then check again to really see if it moved the dial. So couldn't agree more with you on that. Now, you've had a lot of experience in, leading successful sales teams and training sales teams to be successful in this organization, sales outcomes. So in your experience, what's the biggest misconception about sales training? And how does Sales Outcome aim to break that mold with a more holistic approach?
I think what we've heard the most is that people believe sales training will solve all of my problems.
Yeah.
And they don't.
Yeah.
Sales training is one element of a much larger portfolio of sales enablement activities.
Yeah.
It's, in my view, is a very critical one, but there are many others, right? Um, so I think this is the most critical misconception, is assuming that through training, we're going to solve all the problems. For instance, if my product is not competitive, it doesn't matter how much I train, it's not going to work, right?
Yeah, of course.
If my strategy is wrong, uh, I'm going to have issues with my sales teams because they are not going to be successfully very easily, uh, and so on. So I think it's all about when things are not going well. People say, let's invest in training. Well, training is not to be invested when things are not going well. It's an ongoing process that makes sure that your organization is always the most capable, the most competitive, the most skilled in the marketplace for what you are trying to pursue.
Absolutely. So just before we close it out, thank you so very much. I could talk to you for ages. We could double click down on this, but I think we'll save that for another conversation. So for our listeners out there, we will put the details of Airton's organization, Sales Outcomes. You can go look at their website and reach out to them. We'll put that in the description. So what we've covered today is we have unpacked, what the missing link is. And it is that one size training doesn't fit all. Continuously doing the same repetitive just on demand training is not going to elevate your sellers in today's environment. The typical approach is no longer enough. We need to go back into the the workshops, the facilitation, and have that real high touch learning experience customized to that particular organization's business outcomes, and also do the reinforcement to make sure it's sticky. And as Airton mentioned at the very beginning, just giving them product training once and thinking that that's solving the issue, it really is not. So we'll leave it here for now and say thank you very much, Airton. That was very insightful. And we look forward to hearing from you again, maybe double clicking down on this subject, or perhaps, teasing out some more of your expertise in another area. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Please like and subscribe so we can bring you more CEOs and thought leaders from our industry. Thank you.